Around a year ago, I attempted to beat New Super Mario Bros. Wii without pressing left, and it was shockingly complicated to reach a conclusion, despite the video being like 3 minutes long. See, my original answer was a big fat no. If we look at World 8, we're stuck with a problem. We can either go through the world normally and press left to get from 8-3 to 8-Fortress, or we can take the secret exit in 8-2 and press left to enter the pipe. The answer was pretty much accepted until Steve Gaming later released his run on New Super Mario Bros. U without pressing left. In his run, he split left presses into two types: meta left presses and gameplay left presses. The idea is that if a left press is absolutely 100% unavoidable, we call it a meta left press. Left press is where we need to press left to activate something basic, such as moving on the world map or going through a pipe. By Steve's rules, we can beat New Super Mario Bros. Wii without pressing left. So that begs the question, can you beat New Super Mario Bros. Wii without pressing left, and without taking any cannons? How many meta left presses did it take to do this? And can we keep our gameplay left presses at a minimum as well? Let's get started. So, how do I prove that I didn't press left in this run? Well, I can't really. I can say though, that if you try to replicate this run, it will work, because everything I'm saying is 100% true. To make everything a lot easier, I played on Dolphin Emulator. The important thing here is that it allows me to use my own controller. Using this Xbox controller, I can simply not set up an input for D-pad left. So whenever I try to move left on my joystick out of instinct, it'll just do nothing. If left turns out to be required later on, I can open the emulation settings, quickly set up a left button, then remove it once I reach my desired location. Now, to keep this video from going on too long, I'm just going to talk about the levels which I found most difficult in the run. I did do all of them though, and if I remember, I'll add the streams into my livestream archive playlist as evidence. In the previous run, we took the secret exit in 1-3 to reach World 5 early. Since we can't do that this time, we'll have to take the long way around. There aren't really any roadblocks in World 1. Sure, there's the fortress, but it's easy to move left without pressing left in that level. By simply doing a wall jump, Mario will carry a lot of left momentum, which we can retain by continuously jumping or sliding. If you want to know more about the basics, maybe watch the original run first. It's World 2 where we have to start our planning. We can't go to 2-1 because it requires a meta left press, so we're forced into 2-2. Then we do 2-3 and 2-Fortress. After 2-Fortress, we have our first meta left press to reach 2-4. We can't take the secret exit because it's to the left, so we need to move onwards to 2-6. Then, after getting past the spiny ambushes, it's onwards to World 3. Thing is, we need to make sure we have a propeller suit from 1-1 at hand for 2-Fortress. This level is all about climbable fences, which aren't really our friend in this run. Upon grabbing one, we lose any momentum we may have carried in any direction. This would make this jump impossible if it wasn't for the propeller suit. We can gain our left momentum from this wall and simply fly off this way. With our one meta left press dragging us down, we're ready to move on to World 3. Most of the world is pretty self-explanatory, and although platforming 3-Fortress is difficult, it's nothing we haven't gone over already. 3-5 on the other hand is considerably more annoying. This is a vertical level, where we have to follow a rotating mushroom both left and right through a long and tedious autoscroller. But the catch is, there's no walls on either side, and therefore we can't wall jump for left momentum. So how do we move in this level? Sliding and ground pound cancelling. Mario needs to head back to the children's playground for the slide experience of his life for this one. When the rotating mushroom is angled in just the right way, we need to start heading down it as far as we can. Then we have to do a quick ground pound cancel by hitting up before we slam to the ground, and repeat the process. This entire level is incredibly stressful, especially with the fire piranha plant constantly shooting at us towards the end, but you can eventually get a feel for it and complete the level without too much issue. There is another small issue though, an issue that I didn't consider an issue, but I got lots of comments in the last video accusing me of cheating for, and a lot of people in my livestream chat telling me it was unavoidable when it clearly wasn't. Logic is telling us that upon hitting the red switch, we would need to press left to get back to 3-4. In the previous video, we cleared 5-Ghost House secret exit, and logic was telling us that you would need to press left to get back to 5-Cannon. Your logic is really flawed, guys. If you press minus to select a previous world, then return to the world you were just in, you'll spawn at the start of the map. This means we can just make the trek through the Ice Bros again to reach 3-4 without an issue. No left press is required. World 4 appears to be an immediate problem thanks to this Porcupuffer. Not because we'd have to press left on the map, but because he never seems to go away, and the ambush would require a disgusting gameplay left press if we want all the toad balloons. To deal with this, I went back to World 1 Star House, then plowed right through. Sadly, after completing 4-3, I had to add another meta left press to the total to reach 4-Fortress. I could have gone to 4-2 to circumvent this, but it wouldn't have mattered since it takes a left press to reach 4-2 in the first place. Speaking of 4-Fortress, chat was telling me it would award a gameplay left press. No offense chat, but you're wrong, like usual. Slight smile emoji, winking face emoji, upside down smile emoji. although I can see why they might think that. It is a tough stage overall. Our first issue comes from these conveyor belts at the start. Although we can get left momentum from this wall, carrying it across the conveyor belt is pretty much impossible. It was looking pretty unlikely that we'd get in the pipe this way, so we had to think of a new way. I found that you can make more progress using this little corner and trying to clip the corner of the left conveyor belt. If successful, you can wall jump off it and move right to the first pipe instead. After that, there's a bunch of metal blocks being dispensed from this machine. We need to use this wall to get our left momentum and platform across the block to proceed through the level. However, we have to wait for a taller block to dispense or we won't get the height to meet our goal. It's also easy to mess up the platforming here, so you're likely to waste a lot of time. Next, we need to move through these conveyor belts, hit the checkpoint, and propeller block our way into the next pipe. Here, we're met with an even harder conveyor belt section. While already on a conveyor belt, we need to use this wall for left momentum and bypass the conveyor's pull to get through this small corridor. In addition, we can only do this if a short block is falling from above because we need to race it to the corridor, clip the corner, and wall jump out to safety. Using this corner, we need to get all the way back here before waiting for another short block to let us through to the end. By this point, we're basically done with the level. Nothing else is out of the ordinary here, so let's move straight on to 4-Castle. This level is pretty easy overall, but the main issue comes from the boss fight. This boss fight largely takes place underwater, and we need to wait for the water to drain before we can fight Wendy Woo. Issue is, there's no way to gain left momentum underwater, so it quickly becomes difficult to avoid her and a budget Sonic the Hedgehog rings. Thankfully, it's possible to chain a couple of hits together before the water floods back in, but it's tight. Real tight. Finally, we have 4-Airship, which is again super simple until the boss fight. This time, the issue comes from the propeller blocks being our main source of movement. While holding one, we can't get any left momentum to stomp on Junior's head. Thankfully, these things are incredibly bouncy. By flying into the top right corner and throwing the block, we can get it back into the middle of the arena. Then we can just wall jump to gain our left momentum over to that point. I also learned that apparently you can damage Mini Bow Wow by simply throwing the block at him rather than landing directly on his head. That made everything a lot easier to deal with. I don't really need to go into much detail for World 5 since I did so in the previous video. If you'd like to learn about the absolute hell that is 5-Fortress, I'd recommend stopping off over there. That being said, we do have to take the long way around this time, so let's look at 5-Castle. It's a pretty simple level about climbing on rotating fences, not much stopping us. The biggest issue is the boss fight. Here, Iggy and his chomp buddy parkour around the room while we have to chase after them. It's pretty easy to get around, but things get dire when clockwise Chompy gets in our way. Counterclockwise Chain Boy can also be a bit of a pain if we're at the top of the level. Not much we can do about this except try to get ourselves as much left momentum as possible and make good use of the donut blocks if we can stop ourselves on one. World 6 is far more interesting in concept. It's also sort of depressing, as with every other vertical world map, we'll be upping our meta left press counter by 1. I was honestly kinda surprised. You'd think this junction between Dash 3 and Dash Fortress would be an automatic path to the deal, but it's not, and going to Dash 2 instead would be a left press anyway, so that's sad. But hey, no gameplay left presses yet. There's something to be proud of. However irritating 6-Fortress was, no gameplay left presses. The skewers though, they're annoying. Now, I can't believe I'm saying this again, but the Bowser Jr. fight actually causes issues. Who else would have thought that Bowser Jr. finally became a threat? Don't worry, he still sees himself in World 8, but damn, this one took a bit of planning. In this fight, we board a clown car and have to spin attack Bowser Jr. into the electric fence. Issue is, there's no way to gain left momentum. If we miss a shot, we're doomed. So how do we get around this? Pretty much, we have to let him hit us. Let him hit us as far left as he wants before we deliver a smackdown. During his hit animation, we can slide along the middle of the screen with him as well, and if he tries to hit us to the right, we can just fly up or down to avoid him. Honestly, that's kind of all that's left to talk about. Sometimes challenge runs don't end with super climactic events. This ain't no Super Mario Galaxy 2 without transformations in terms of drama levels. World 7 is honestly pretty easy. It took 10 minutes to do for the first time. The only moderately difficult part was 7-Tower, where you had to tilt to the left and slide at the same time to avoid some of the projectiles. The secret exit is on the right side too, and that takes you right across to the castle's secret entrance. And that's all the new information we needed. We did World 8 in the previous video, and we already knew that we had to up our meta left press count by 1 at 8-2, so we have our answers now. How many left presses did it take to beat New Super Mario Bros. Wii? 4. How many gameplay left presses did it take to beat New Super Mario Bros. Wii? 0. None at all. Which is honestly what you probably expected when you clicked on this video, but maybe you didn't expect getting the number down to be this difficult. But you know what isn't difficult? Liking the video and subscribing to my channel. Turtle reveal at 200k. This is also the first time I've had someone else edit one of these long form videos, so make sure you subscribe to Cortato as well. I'll link a video we did together on the end screen if you want to get to know him a bit better. Okay, bye.